Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary News Talk live stream pre-stream. Thanks for being here. We are, I'm about to send out the text message for the Canary Cry text message alerts. There it goes. If you're on the text message alert system, you'll receive a text message shortly. If you're not on the alert system, I would highly recommend you go do that. You can do that by going to canarycry.party and signing up there, or you can just text the word canary to a number that I have memorized and will tell you now. 877-740-3226. That's 877-740-3226. And we just send out a little alert before every show, right before we start, so you can make sure to make it to the live if that's what you're into. And I'm assuming if you're here now, look at that. I just got the text message alert. I'm assuming if you're here now, you're into the live shows. All right. Also, Canary Party has all sorts of other great resources for you to get in on. Of course, the newsletter. Always got to plug the newsletter, baby. Go sign up for that. It's not your usual newsletter. It's got all sorts of important sources that we use in every show, as well as the art, announcements, meetups, things like that. It's a good little resource for not just for keeping in touch with the show, but also having all the important mainstream sources in your back pocket for when you get into conversations with people in your life, be they family, friend, or foe. You can bust out some mainstream sources that they will not be able to argue with you about in regards to all the things we talk about on the show. Okay, we're going to get going here. Hello to everyone. I see you, YouTube. I see you, DLive. Poor Twitch is still gone one of these days. All right, folks, here we go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is September 14th, 2022. We are live to tape on episode 534, and today, FALL-AGEDDON. Dun dun dun. And signing on from off the grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, live from California, here to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomenon, falling. Lots of falling. It's almost fall, you know?
It's almost fall, yeah. It feels like it. Is it starting to cool off around your neck of the woods?
Yes, finally. Yeah. And,
California is on fire. Well, so that's how you know we are moving from summer to fall.
Keeps us warm in the winter. Also,
the cold California winters.
This show exemplifies the fall of man. You know, just every episode is just a highlight of the fall of man. And if you're Russian and you're a CEO, just
watch out.
You might fall. So just
put some railings near your windows.
Just be careful
Russians. Out there. There seems to be some building code issues or something because these Russians can't stop falling out of windows. All right. Well, we got a great show today. So let me give you a quick rundown.
Run it down. Run it.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Ready, set, go. All right, well, we're going to start out with some lead stories, of course. Mike Lindell, MyPillow, what's going on? We'll check in with him. Haven't heard from him in a while. And, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure this is a called it. We have ex-CNN anchor, if you could call him that. Host, I guess. Just face.
Guy.
Brian Stelter. He's got his new gig. Okay, we knew he would land on his feet like a unlike a Russian, but more like a cat falling out of a window. Now, we're going to be checking in with Flippy, and a deep Flippy here for you. We all know a famous carpenter, and, well, everybody's jobs are at risk, including carpenters. We're going to be checking in with Russia, Ukraine, China. Big things going on. More apocalyptic warnings. Of course, windows, boats. Russians cannot just keep their feet on the ground, man. And then China, some interesting sort of cyber pandemic updates there. Then we'll be checking back in with the movement that is somehow both entirely fabricated and yet poses a real threat, perhaps not to American democracy, but to perhaps the reputation or the standing of the Church in America. A little bit of QAnon mixed in there. Do not miss that one. Some local stories. And then we'll be checking in on, well, I think the narrative has switched. The mainstream has changed their mind about breastfeeding, and they let us know that in the most extravagant way. Don't worry, no parental advisory needed, but you will need to hold on tight to your sanity. And then at the end of the show, of course, Antarctica. Big updates for all of our live streamers in Antarctica. And just a quick note, we have a hard out today, slightly shorter show, although still longer than it should be. So, Gons, it's time to start off with our lead stories.
I am innocent. They're coming after me.
Yep.
They're coming after me.
They're coming after all of you, apparently.
Yeah.
New York Post headline here. MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell says FBI seized his phone at Hardee's drive-thru.
That's the most fun part. At Hardee's drive-thru. Who knew? Mike Lindell, pillow billionaire. He's just like us, folks. He still eats at a Hardee's drive-thru. For those who don't know, Hardee's is sort of a sister chain to Carl's Jr. I think it's more of an East Coast thing.
I thought it started as Hardee's. I thought Carl's Jr. came later. I don't know.
It may have. I think the guy's name was Carl Hardee.
Yeah.
So there's Hardee's and then there's Carl's Jr. All right, tell us more.
Okay. Well, it says here, MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell said FBI agents pulled up to his car in a Hardee's drive-thru in Minnesota and seized his phone, apparently as part of the Justice Department's investigation into 2020 election interference. The pro-Trump conspiracy theorist, thank you, New York Post, retold the dramatic moment live on his show, The Lindell Report, Tuesday, claiming his phone was seized and he was served a subpoena. Lindell said he and a pal decided to pick up food at Hardee's in his hometown of Mankato, I don't know, after a fishing trip when 3 cars pulled up and surrounded his vehicle, blocking him from exiting the drive-thru lane. Quote, I said to my buddy, I wish I had the audio quotes here, maybe easier to play. I said to my buddy, I said, that's either a bad guy or it's FBI, Lindell said on his show. According to a clip posted on the conservative news site, The Post Millennial. The pillow entrepreneur, I like that, the pillow entrepreneur, because that's what he is, known for falsely insisting Donald Trump won the 2020 election, said the agents began peppering him, I thought it was pepper spray, but no, it was questions. They started peppering him with questions about Colorado clerk Tina Peters, who faces felony charges related to a security breach of her office's election equipment and the Dominion voting machines. This is weird. Now, it goes into the history. It goes into the history of why they're getting them. But we all know why. First of all, falsely insisting is a weird term, but I'm going to let that slide. What was the FBI? What was the plan here? The FBI, we know they've been serving subpoenas left and right. Something like 40 Republicans allegedly involved in planning the January 6th event were served subpoenas in the past few days or whatever, last week. But were they just following him around, waiting
for him to go to a Hardee's? Were they biding their time? When it came to the Trump raid, they waited until he was in New York. Very, very finely tuned plan. Very methodical, calculated. Did they somehow guide him there? Did they feed him some the advertisements on his way back from the fishing trip, place some very well placed sign twirling FBI agents to get him to stop? It's just following him around everywhere, just waiting for a moment to trap him. It's just a weird way to go, man. I don't understand.
Well, I think there's if I put on a tinfoil cap, if I may, I think this could be some kind of deal also with Hardee's. There's no reason to do it there, but if you do it there, you have a very good
secret black ops Hardee's.
Yeah, you get one of America's oldest fast food chains in the news again.
It's a PR stunt.
Maybe a little PR stunt, but also, of course, the possibility of it being sort of when I say inside job, I mean staged for the purpose of political stirring, and even the Trump thing seems to be. Well, I say that in the sense of purposeful from the Trump side of things, because he still's got eyes and ears and feet from his.
I think you nailed it. The first time around. This is a black budget, secret, off the books, FBI safe
advertisement
house Hardee's.
Deal. Yeah, advertisement deal with Hardee's.
This is a bunker disguised as a Hardee's.
Okay.
With perfectly placed billboards around town to lure in unsuspecting insurrectionists. And we've all wondered what happens off the books with the intelligence agencies. People are thinking, robots and black ops in the Middle East. Nope. It's Hardee's. It's a hologram camouflage system on the outside, and to lure in unsuspecting Republicans, and then boom, nab them right there, and then enjoy a cheeseburger afterwards.
Yeah, it's funny.
So
how
they got
he
his phone.
They got his phone, and it's funny because he said he called his lawyer and then he gave up his phone. So good stuff.
I mean, they did this to a lot of people. There's about 40 Republicans who had the same thing happen.
Yeah, I like the quote here. I said, "If I don't give it to you, will you arrest me then?" Lindell said he asked the agents. This is a little virtue signaling from that side, I want to be arrested. It'll make international news. So anyway, yeah.
He did say that. He said, this is the quote, "I said, I've been asking for you guys.
Right.
This will make international news." International, weird. The quote in the article is international ... news! Exclamation mark.
Well, that's not the only thing we have here at the top. We also, hold on. We have to remember that Trump is building a new age.
We will launch a new age.
And Mike Lindell had to say bye-bye to his phone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we still don't. I thought for a second maybe we had a Brian Stelter jingle, but the SHILLZILLA one will do for now.
Shill. A shill for sure.
Indirectly affects our SHILLZILLA, so yes.
Perhaps it's a sort of an omen for what, might...
the path it's set.
Yes, the path,
something
the career
to shoot
path
for.
is set for SHILLZILLA. Washington Times. America's newspaper, it says. Former CNN host Brian Stelter joins Harvard as media fellow. Will examine threats to democracy. Oh, yeah, he's totally qualified for this. I mean, when you think of Harvard, especially the sort of media fellowship, the media schools at Harvard, what you really want to do is work your entire life, do your homework, don't go to parties, get straight A's, do extracurriculars, perhaps find some way to mark yourself as a minority, get into Harvard just to be taught about the threats to democracy by a sentient Bratz doll, a giant baby man.
You know who likes the giant baby man are the Moonies.
What do you mean? Why do they like him? Because Washington Times?
Yeah, Moonies own the Washington Times.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if the Moonies like him, he's A-okay.
It's endorsed. Yeah. Continue.
Recently ousted CNN host Brian Stelter will take on the, quote, threats to democracy and other topics as Harvard's media and politics fellow, the university said on Monday. Mr. Stelter will be working at the prestigious Ivy League college through at least the fall semester as its Walter Shorenstein Media and Democracy Fellow. Wow. He holds a very special position.
Oh,
he's not just a prof or something. He is one of one Walter Shorenstein Media and Democracy Fellow. According to a press release from the university, the former, quote, reliable sources host will, quote, convene a series of discussions about threats to democracy and the range of potential responses from the news media, the university said. The range of potential responses. Now, keep in mind, Brian Stelter is not a journalist. He's not a...
How dare you?
He's barely an anchor.
How dare you?
Almost not. He is a TV personality that hosts a talk show. He is not a reporter, not a journalist. He is a talking head, kind of like me.
He's a shiny talking head.
Here, and so, this bodes well for those in the business who make it their career goal to sort of, shill for the establishment, for the corporations, for the, the brainwashing programs, to bend the knee, kiss the ring, do it as long as possible, eschewing all sort of, all reference to self-respect and, some sort of actual critical thought in the news. And kids, if you do this, you can work at Harvard. So pay attention, Chris SHILLZILLA. What is he going to be talking about? Those discussions will involve media figures, policymakers, politicians, and Kennedy School students, and will, quote, help deepen public and scholarly understanding about the current state of the information ecosystem. Ha! Brian Stelter of CNN giving the current state of the information ecosystem. He is perfectly suited. The current state of the information ecosystem is you have giant baby / robot lizard people towing a line, reading a script that's fed to them on a teleprompter. He is the perfect person to tell people what the current state of information ecosystem is and its impact on democratic governance. I don't know what qualifies him to talk about civics, except for the aforementioned sort of allegiance to the system.
Let me just say
I think this is very helpful. Real quick, one last comment. He did such a great job of brainwashing the masses. It is only natural that when he loses that job, you put him straight at the top. You put him at the Harvard media and broadcasting schools. So maybe he's not going to be lying out of his what do they call it? Mandible, his strange thing he calls a mouth when I forget. To the
what
public.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to.
What ramblings?
We're moving on.
Nobody likes him, but still, man, come on.
No, this is important. He, instead of lying straight to the public, his job now is to teach or program the next generation of media, influencers coming out of Harvard, of course, to do the job as good as he did. I'm happy for him.
There's kind of a through line with CNN and the change in CNN and then maintaining a Stelter is the fact that Harvard was part of the investigation for the Confucius Institute. If you remember from Bloomberg from 2020, Harvard, Yale under U.S. investigation over foreign funding. So, I don't know what came of that. I don't think there was. There were a bunch of universities that dropped the Confucius Institute, and I think for the most part it's been exposed. But it doesn't mean that there's still tentacles left and connections made. So to me, it's more of a...
Yeah,
It's
and the
more-
connections with CNN and
Directly.
Beijing too.
Yeah. So anyway, just another line of thinking.
Two more sentences that I think are just great to read out loud. Mr. Stelter told the campus newspaper, the Harvard Crimson, that he hopes to bring the spirit of his former show to the university's campus. Interesting choice of words.
Yeah, if it's the dragon, then it makes sense. Chinese and the dragon.
The spirit of the Antichrist. It is unclear if the fellowship is a paid position.
Oh, please.
Unclear, Guns. He's just doing it out of the kindness of his heart.
The fact that they had to say that in the article means there's some kind of long-term deal here. This isn't just, and it's not necessarily monetary. It could be monetary, but in a more sleight of hand way.
It could it could be all sorts of backroom deals.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Brian Stelter, good luck, my friend. And Chris SHILLZILLA, pay attention. The path is clear.
The path is set.
Clear, buddy.
You can one day be a Harvard. You can be the next man to be named whatever this is.
Whatever it is. You can be a fellow.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Hey guys, know what day it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the Canary Cry News Talk. Yeehaw!
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
Indeed, it is Wednesday. I had to change some settings before we started the show, Gons. And whatever these settings are, every single one of those jingles sounded entirely different.
Oh, like
I'm
in a
hearing
good way or bad way?
Unrecognizable. It's like, they're good. They're still good, but whatever I did with my settings is bringing out new parts, hidden.
Are you receiving in
gems.
stereo maybe through Skype now? That's possible.
I don't know why I would, but it's interesting. I don't know. Anyways, it is Wednesday, my dudes. And, it's a little unfortunate. I saw some people in the chat today talking about how excited they were for the Burning Man update. And it's unfortunate because we are on a time crunch. And today I chose to put off the next Burning Man update until Friday. So I apologize. I will bring it on
the
Friday.
People.
I didn't know people were enjoying it that much. So there's plenty more to talk about. We are continuing to put together the content. Just finished up some interviews to make up for the ones that were lost. And plenty to come on the Burning Man research updates. So thank you for that. But as far as the personal updates, the emus, Gons, Kevin and Kevin, the Danger Twins.
Did you send me pictures of that?
Humongous. I didn't send you a picture.
Okay,
I was gonna, but then we were rushed to start.
Sure.
So, they're humongous. They're only about 6 months old, and they come if they stand up straight, they look me straight in the eyes. And
you're 7'4", so that's pretty terrifying.
7'4", yes, of course. I'm Nephilim Basil. So it's getting a little terrifying. I kind of feel perhaps what I imagine a father with human children might feel like when, the son gets in high school and suddenly can beat him up or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. So again, if I disappear completely, first place to check, Emu Cage. It might have me locked up.
Good stuff. I have a prayer request here.
Producers, assemble!
So the prayer request comes from one of our listeners. I'm going to keep this person anonymous. However, just got the message. They sent it on Monday, but I read it this morning. the producer here, her husband passed away on Monday.
Oh no!
So she's suffering from some anxiety and all these things. And she had mentioned in the note that, she knows that they'll see each other again in the resurrection, but right now it's kind of tough. So
of course that's tough. My gosh.
Bad news, and my heart was breaking reading that email. So I wanted to call upon the producers and pray for this producer. She has produced the show in multiple capacities over the years, and so just wanted to throw that out there and get you guys going.
Producers around the world, put it on the list. You don't know how well identified, but the Lord knows. Producer's husband, producer and producer's husband, of course, comfort. And oh my gosh, what a tragic thing to have happen. I don't even have the words to pinpoint the prayers. So producers, just let the Holy Spirit guide you on that one. Well, yes, I wish, well, I'll be praying for you. I wish I knew more, so I knew, but I'll follow up later.
Sure. Yeah. And there's not, I don't know the details or anything, but just know that, we're behind you.
Surprise?
I think, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know the details, but yeah, I just want to tell this anonymous producer that, be strong. We're here, but more importantly, God is there with you, and your husband is with the Lord now. So just
reach out to us if you need, and of course,
we're here.
The community is, we're a family here. So go to the Canary Cry community or the Discord or something, and Canarians will just be more than happy to come around and support you in this time.
Yeah, 100%. There you go.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it. Yeah, for the
Let's thank an executive producer.
Executive producers.
That's right. We're on the value for value model, folks. You know how this works. We don't take any corporate money whatsoever. Instead, it is up to the producers of the show to keep it going. And who are the producers? They are people just like you who recognize the value they get out of this show and know that it can only continue through the value for value system, which is, if you get value, put value back in. There's many ways to do that. You can put value back into the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Lots of different ways to do it. But it's the only way we're able to stay alive. It's the only way we're able to do the show as frequently as we do. And it's only possible, or I guess all the various parts of the Canary verse are only possible because of the participation of our producers. And the executive producers are producers who come in hot, baby. They make it a priority to put value back in. They carry a heavy load, keep the show going for the rest of us, and we appreciate them very much. And we have a producer today to thank. Guys,
all right, here we go.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. This executive producer came in through the link tree, which usually sends me a separate email with the note attached. I did not receive any notification from Linktree about this one. So if there was a note, executive producer, I apologize. Just email us or send us your note or something. We'll be happy to make up for it later. But I do want to thank executive producer Jennifer I.
Thank you, Jennifer I.
Yes, thank you very much, Jennifer.
Like the letter I, right? Not the all-seeing I.
Well, who knows? Jennifer I comes in for the 11111. Very nice.
Thank
Bunch
you.
of ones there. Thank you very much, Jennifer, plus fees. And we appreciate you very, very much. Everybody give a rousing round of applause for executive producer Jennifer I.
Where'd you find this?
Yep. And as of now, that is the only executive producer for this episode. I am having a strange thing. I am unable to get into the back end of our PayPal. So
that's not good.
If people are coming in now, I have no way to check that. I will keep checking, keep trying. But if there is another executive producer that came in, we'll thank you in the next break, of course. And it's not too late to produce the show, folks. You can still do it by heading to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
All righty. Okay, well, I think it's time for the Flippy update. Oh, meetups. Nope. Beep, boop, beep, boop. Time for the meetups. We are not going to forget again.
Canary Cry Meetup.
Go to canarycrymeetups.com. That's the gist of it. canarycrymeetups.com. You can see the list of locations, times, places, people who are meeting up around the country. That's here in the U.S. Occasionally there's an overseas meetup, but here's the point. Go canarycrymeetups.com. See if there's one near you. If there is not, put one on yourself. Choose a time, choose a place, let us know about it. We will tell the world, put it on the website. It'll be a good time. Coming up this month, we have the Sierra City, California. It's a camp out, Canary Cry camp out on September 17th. Contact mdbsmission@gmail.com. That's Modern Day Bible Study Mission @gmail.com for info. We got the St. Paul, Minnesota meetup, September 24th. Canary Cry Twin Cities meetup, baby. Backstory Coffee Roasters, 11/11 on the 24th. Go check that out. Of course, we've got the Pikeland meetup in Mountain View, Arkansas, the 28th through the 30th. Contact surrealgray@gmail.com for that. And for more information, go to canarycrymeetups.com. We'll see you at the meetup.
This is fun!
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
There we go. It's time for the Flippy update, folks. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and just how there's nothing we can do about it. TheDailyStar.net is a very important update. Hattel brings robot carpenters. Yes. Oh, but there's more, Guns.
This is an old article.
Yeah, it is old. Hattel has invested over 200, some crazy currency, I don't know, TK 200 crore, to renovate its Zerani Bazaar factory in Savar with state-of-the-art machinery, including automated robotic systems, in an attempt to make its growing global popularity to newer heights. In additions led to led to increased technological dependence for the 20-acre plant. That is a big plant. But that did not translate into job cuts. Don't worry, Gons. Did not translate into job cuts, much to the relief of around 2,300 human employees of the company. Rather, it doubled production. The tech includes a robotic arm for lacquering, computer-aided design machinery, and curing equipment using ultraviolet light. Most of the fund came as loans from HSBC, Mutual Trust Bank, Prime Bank, and others. I thought this was fascinating. Of course, we've got a Carpenter robot, or a set of Carpenter robots, which, of course, we all think of Christ, the most famous Carpenter. I don't like the robots sort of, taking anybody's jobs, but the sort of replication of Christ's profession, something to pay attention to. But it's also funded by the banks. It is... You got all the banks involved, man. I mean, what isn't funded by the banks, of course, but we're so used to billionaires and crypto token sales and all these things nowadays funding these robot inventions. To actually have the banks get involved is pretty impressive. So you've got a bank-owned, bank-funded Carpenter robot. And listen to this quote. Quote, "A perfect combination of man and machine," describes Farouz Al-Mamoun, head of sales and marketing at Hattel. Now, Gons, of course, I was already primed to be thinking about Christ just in general. I do that a lot. But, of course, the Carpenter robot, I don't like Flippy stepping on any toes, much less Christ's. And the funding by the bank, sinister, but also, of course, a bit profound. Now, we all know Jesus, the perfect combination of man and God. Mm-hmm. And now, Flippy, the Carpenter robot, coming in is the perfect combination of man and machine. It just echoed the transhumanist dystopia, robotic savior that the social engineering has been guiding us towards for so long. There were just too many parallels to pass up, Gons. I couldn't help it.
Are you ready to become cyborg?
This is right. Perfect. It's a great way to get. I'm sorry. I'm like blabbling.
It's a blah blah.
It's a blah blah. It's this is why we need AI robots, so there's no human blah blah on air.
Yeah. You got to get the humans out of there, man.
So there's a man who I met at my local church here, and he's like a carpenter. He does real high-end luxury, very fine work, like amazing. He was showing me on his phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. And now I'm going to tell him about this. I'm going to be like, hey, you know about Hattel?
Hattel.
And maybe, I don't know what his take will be. Maybe he's going to have to join forces, with the machines to keep up, or at least get that banker money, get the trust bank money.
Drop the carpentry, pick up robotics, man. It's the only way to survive the future. Yeah. All right, there's your Flippy update for the day.
Yay. Was not prepared that you were going to just cut it off so short.
We're moving, baby.
Okay.
Flippy 1133. Uploading binary code. Execute order 666. Infiltrate humans with extreme kindness. Then exterminate all humans with prejudice. Exterminate.
Russia.
Fight for Ukraine. New world order.
All right, time to carry some water for Putin.
Yay.
Because we're reporting from RT.com. I don't know why.
Oh, good.
I mean, come on. What are we doing?
We used to report way more from RT.
I know. It was the fun outlet.
It's only after, it used to be the fun place to get news. Now it's like banned.
Yeah, well, it's because of stories like this, apparently, and it's biblical.
It's got to be biblical.
Again, RT headline here, Medvedev issues apocalyptic warning to West over Ukraine.
Another one.
By
the way, did you notice that the Queen died like 3 days after Medvedev threatened the Queen?
Yeah, maybe it was a metaphorical nuke went over the UK and took her out.
Was it?
Or I guess she was in Scotland,
nukes.
But still.
I think it was Medvedev just straight up threatened the Queen. Not even like. It was like a personal threat, and then the next week she's gone. So I don't know, man. I'm just saying the timing of these things it's too much sometimes.
Yeah, maybe they're meant to kind of kill off some of the older ruler types here. This seems to be going both directions. But here's what the article says from RT. Great reset. Western half-wits from silly think tanks. These aren't quotes, by the way, are leading their countries down the road of nuclear Armageddon with their hybrid war against Moscow, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev wrote on his Telegram channel on Tuesday. Endlessly funneling weapons and support to Ukraine while pretending not to be directly involved in the conflict will not work, added the deputy chair of the Russian Security Council. The quote-unquote security guarantees proposal unveiled by Kyiv on Tuesday was, quote, really a prologue to the Third World War, end quote, said Medvedev, calling it a, quote, hysterical appeal, end quote, to Western countries engaged in a proxy war against Russia. If the West continues its, quote, unrestrained pumping of the Kyiv regime with the most dangerous types of weapons, end quote, Russia's military campaign will move to the next level where, quote, visible boundaries and potential predictability of actions by the parties to the conflict, end quote, will be erased and the conflict will take on a life of its own, as wars always do, Medvedev argued. I can't tell what part Medvedev said and what part RT is paraphrasing as part of the propaganda summation. It's all kind of seamless here.
There's a couple interesting things. Did you read the subtext, the subheadline rather? Yeah. It's just
well, I didn't read it out loud. I'll say it out loud, which is the former Russian president.
Do it out loud.
Yeah, the former Russian president used a Book of Revelation quote to comment on Kyiv security treaty demands. So yeah, it's
right. So biblical. Again, going to the biblical talk, the biblical language, which we've seen repeatedly. I mean, there's again the kind of the Russian throwback of their government can still talk like this. However, it is the former president. Now, I do not recall if Medvedev actually holds any office right now. But he is the former president, which I think gives him a little bit more freedom to talk like this. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Trump.
Part of his
Trump
job, probably.
Crazy stuff.
Part of his job to not, become kind of a rogue guy that has to hide somewhere in NATO.
Well, yeah. Well, he can say the things that like Putin can't say, because if Putin says it, then it's like a direct political threat, geopolitical threat. Yeah. But Medvedev, just the former president, he can say all this crazy stuff, which makes good headlines.
Let's get to the specifics here. Quote, and this is again back to Medvedev's quote here. And then the Western nations will not be able to sit in their clean homes, laughing at how they carefully weaken Russia by proxy. Everything will be on fire around them. Their people will harvest their grief in full. The land will be on fire and the concrete will melt, end quote, Medvedev wrote, before citing a Bible verse from Revelation 9:18. Do you know what it says in Revelation 9:18, Basil?
Let's hear it.
I'll read from the English Standard. Let's just do King Bible because it's more dramatic. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out from their mouths, or out of their mouths. Yes, it's a part about a third of mankind being killed. Fire, smoke, sulfur.
Yeah. There you go. They're full on Armageddon talk from Medvedev there.
A little bit more here. Quote, yet still the narrow-minded politicians and their silly think tanks thoughtfully twirling a glass of wine in their hands. Paints quite the
He's
picture.
Painting such a
talk about how they can deal with us without entering into a direct war. Dual fools with a classical education. I changed the word.
Are you censoring some of these?
Yeah, I'm just trying to be, I don't want to say some of those words. Right. Insulting.
We are sure. The word is dull, by the way.
Dull fool.
Dull. What?
I said dull fool.
You said dual.
Yeah,
dual fools.
All right. Well, anyway, there you go. This is Medvedev getting biblical and plays right into so many things.
I mean, it's really interesting to hear how the ex-president talks to the public, because that's the big problem right now. Russia, Ukraine just did that big switcheroonski the last week or whatever, where they took back a bunch of land. You remember for like a month they were saying they were going to take back the southern region. Yeah, they kept saying they're talking about it for a month, and then at the last second they didn't touch the southern region. They came up north and took the northern region. So it seems. I mean, everybody, all the analysts talking about it are like, whoa, brilliant switcheroo from Ukraine. But it's obvious that, like, okay, why are you telling Putin your plans a month in advance? Okay, of course, you are just giving him a lot of warning about what you're going to do. This is kind of a weird thing that you're doing. They made it a big PR move. And allegedly, as the reporting goes, which I'm really starting to be skeptical of, but the reporting is that Putin fell for it and sent all of his most seasoned troops to the south to protect it from Ukraine. And everybody, all the troops he left up north were the not so seasoned troops, the sort of B team. And there's all these stories of them, the Russians dropping their rifles and running away and stealing bicycles to escape the Ukrainians coming back for their land. Just really theatrical reporting on the whole thing.
Yeah.
And this is like mainstream New York Times, Washington Post reporting. And so, and in addition to those analyses, they're saying, oh, well, Putin's embarrassed. He's embarrassed and he's losing the war.
Retreating.
Yeah. The generals are mad. The politicians are mad in Russia. Everybody's mad. Putin's going to bring this to all-out war. But he's going to have a problem because the Russian people, it's politically, dangerous or suicide for him to do all-out war instead of what he's been calling a special operation. Just going to go kill the Nazis. Don't worry, everybody. This is not all-out war. But now, they're saying that he needs to do all-out war, or he might. But it's going to be hard to convince the Russian people that they actually want to do this. And that's where I think Medvedev comes in.
Right.
Painting this picture of the evil capitalist Westerners swirling their wine.
Well, it's funny. He calls it a proxy war, but this quote itself is part of the proxy war. To say this out loud publicly is part of... You can say saber rattling, but really it's a proxy war. It's kind of a showmanship of like, hey, if we get into a physical altercation, you know who's got some gnarly weapons. It's the Russians.
Well, it's not a proxy for Russia. Russia, they're in it directly. It's a proxy war for us because we're.
Well, I'm saying it's instigating or at least perpetuating this proxy war. It's words.
Well, yeah. Well, what they keep saying is they want to make it actual all-out war with the West.
I know.
Yeah.
But that's they always say that.
Well, words. Yeah, I don't know. Words isn't proxy war, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's not in the government, and allegedly the far right in the Russian political spectrum are just insisting to start sending nukes. They are just so ready. And I think that's reflected in this apocalyptic language and non-politicians freely talking about nuking the world into oblivion. Sorry, didn't mean to go into the whole analysis there because there's more important things to talk about. Heading over to Newsweek here. Newsweek.com. This was hilarious. I grabbed the archived version because when I first saw this story, it had a fun typo in the headline. They have since fixed it. Good job, Newsweek. Took you 2 days, but okay. Newsweek.com. Putin's key man in the Arctic found dead after falling overboard.
Hey, it's published at 4:33 p.m.
Yeah, 4:33 p.m. on the 12th. And I'm Arctic, ARTIC, not Arctic, Arctic. And Newsweek.
Is it Antarctic?
Newsweek. I wish. I wish it was the Antarctic, but no, just the Arctic, just regular old Arctic.
Arctic.
The death of a Russian energy executive over the weekend adds to a list of mysterious deaths of high-powered national businessmen since prior to February 24th invasion of Ukraine. Ivan Pechorin, 39, managing director of the Corporation for Development of the Far East and the Arctic, reportedly fell off a boat at full speed and died Saturday near Russky Island in the Sea of Japan in Primorsky Krai, Russia, near Vladivostok.
That's like 007, straight 007 type of stuff.
Right? And they don't mention the kind of boat that he was on. I'm imagining like a cigarette boat, like a cigarette runner, a go fast boat,
as he was trying to escape. It wasn't on the big cruiser or like a yacht or something. He's trying to get out, so he gets on one of those escape boats.
This is at full speed, at full speed. You got to be going pretty dang fast to die of falling off the boat. But who knows? They don't tell us. But I was imagining or maybe one of those fancy wooden boats from James Bond through the Venetian canals or something. I don't know. Pechorin worked under Russian President Vladimir Putin, according to the Russian publication Okay, let me try this again. Komsomolskaya Pravda, modernizing aviation in the eastern Russia while developing resources in the Arctic in light of heavy sanctions. He's an oil man.
Yeah.
Pechorin's last public appearance reportedly occurred at the Eastern Economic Forum, held from September 5th to 8th in Vladivostok. The Daily Mail reported that Pechorin spoke during a session called, quote, "Everyone has their own route, the logistics of a changed world." His death follows that of the corporation's former CEO. Keep in mind, he is the second CEO to die in the last 6 months. Igor Nosov, 43, who reportedly died suddenly from a stroke in February. Now this is where it gets fun, Gons. So we've got the guy falling off the boat. We got the guy suddenly from a stroke. You know, that happens. On September 1st, Ravil Maganov, 67, an oil tycoon, another oil guy, and former head of Russia's second largest oil company, Lukoil, reportedly fell to his death from a 6th-floor window of a Moscow hospital. Unconfirmed reports allege that Maganov was beaten and thrown out of a window. Okay.
Wow.
Honestly,
some more 007 stuff.
You honestly didn't even have to write that last part. You didn't have to mention it.
It's a quote. It's quoted. Beaten is quoted, and thrown out of a window is also quoted. This is a direct quote from Maganov.
Unconfirmed reports, yes. So you've got falling off a boat. This guy fell out of the hospital window. He was already in the hospital. And quote unquote fell out the window. The oil tycoon had previously expressed his opposition to the invasion of Ukraine. Lukoil, meanwhile, said his death came, quote, after a serious illness. Yeah, he had a serious illness and then fell out the window of the hospital. Whoops. Other similar deaths have occurred over the years. Now, they say years, but they just go back to December of 2021.
Years ago.
Not that long ago.
Well, years ago in our current timeline. I mean,
that's true. Yegor Prozvernin, founder of nationalist website Sputnik and Pogrom, fell out of a residential building in Moscow and died. Another window problem. Yo, Russia, get some bars on the windows, guys. You can't have all your important.
Just have nets all over, covering the lower
drones,
30 feet. Yeah.
Drones. You can have a set of drones on the top of every building.
They come down and catch you.
Wow. All of your very important oligarchs keep falling out of windows. A similar incident occurred in October that year. 2 months earlier.
In 2021. So a year ago.
When a Russian diplomat was found dead after a fall from a window at the Russian embassy in Berlin.
I'm sorry we are laughing at such tragedy
all over the world.
But yes, when it's written like this, it's the absurdity is out of control.
Of course. Russia posts English guns. We're allowed to laugh at Russian oligarchs being assassinated.
Yes,
on
haha,
YouTube.
Look at them die.
We officially cannot be banned for promoting violence against Russians, apparently. Sickeningly. That is the state of the social media stuff. Russia posts English reported that Pechorin's aviation prowess, this is the boatman, included the support of passenger air transportation, modernization of airport infrastructure. Okay, so he's working on airlines and stuff. And it goes into some statements about his death, and everybody's very sad about it. So yeah, some very interesting window-related accidents continuing to happen. And who knows? Who knows what kind of boat it was? Maybe the boat had a window and fell out.
Well, Newsweek, unclear funding, as Harvard.edu's mainstream media document shows. But remember, this was also bought out by Jonathan Davis and Dev Pragad in, I think, 2013.
Yeah.
And Yeah, there was
highly suspicious.
Very suspicious. Yeah, there's
funding.
Definitely some intel type of stuff going on.
Yeah, it seems like a Smith-Mundt Modernization Act situation, or perhaps just straight up propaganda outlet. I had to look it up. Defenestration, Gons, is the word for the act of throwing something or someone out of a window.
Good word.
Yeah. So they've got some defenestration experts. They need to employ some anti-defenestration experts over there in Russia.
That'd be an interesting recruitment tool, you know. You good at throwing people out of windows? Come work for us.
And alternatively, are you good at catching people who are falling out of windows?
Yeah, it's a whole industry. Yeah. Both sides, fun both sides. In relationship to this Ukraine-China thing, or not Ukraine-Russia thing, is the China thing.
Welcome to Chinese news.
It comes from China. It's not racist at all, no.
This is from theprint.in, and the headline here is 60 to 80% of Twitter accounts posting on Russia-Ukraine war bots. 90% pro-Ukraine, finds new study, which is not a surprise.
Right. Well, speaking of the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, for those who need review, was an old law, but was renewed and revised for the modern times by Obama. I believe it was 2013. Yeah. Which basically laid down the rules as to how to legally propagandize, how the American government could legally propagandize to Americans, aka lie to them legally. And part of this was, if you can get a story planted in a foreign newspaper, then you can report on the story in the foreign newspaper legally and use it as a source or a pretext for American media. And there was, I don't know if you remember this, Gons. This was, I think we reported, it must have been 2020 that this big study came out. There was something like 700 of Indian online news outlets were straight up used for propaganda. They weren't real news outlets. And so whenever you see .in, which
India,
I believe .in is India, correct?
Yeah.
So when you see .in, there's an extremely likely chance that you are reading news directly sort of inseminated by the intelligence community of the U.S. government. So keep that in mind when we read this.
New Delhi, between 60 and 80% of Twitter handles posting on the Ukraine-Russia war may be bot accounts. A research by scholars from the University of Adelaide, Australia, has found. Among other influences, these bot accounts may have been pushing people to flee their homes during the conflict between these two countries, the researchers added. The researchers also found more quote-unquote pro-Ukraine accounts than those that were pro-Russia. The paper titled, I love the title of this very prestigious paper. The paper is titled hashtag I stand with Putin versus hashtag I stand with Ukraine. The interaction of bots and humans in discussion of the Russia-Ukraine war was released on August 20th. The researchers,
was there an exclamation mark? Remember,
no.
we saw the
but that was on climate change.
Scientists are allowed to use exclamation marks in their science now.
They're not quite there yet. The hashtag is already a move in another direction, I would say. But yeah, that was on climate change. Not as alarming, I guess, the Ukraine war. The researchers studied 5.2 million posts on Twitter, tweets, retweets, quotes, and replies to tweets shared between February 23rd, the day before, and March 8th this year, to understand how bot activity may influence online discussions around the Russia-Ukraine conflict and how bots may influence human emotions. The study's posts contained hashtags like stand with Putin, Bot accounts were identified using Indiana University's Botometer, a software which helps identify a bot account. How come they...
A botometer?
Or botometer.
I want a botometer.
What about Elon? Did Elon use that maybe for his little argument about Twitter? Yeah, go follow that.
I'm going to follow this rabbit hole to the botometer.
Quote, we can say that between 60% and 80% of accounts tweeting the hashtags were studied during the first 2 weeks of the war were bots, as determined using the bot-o-meter. Joshua Watt, one of the researchers, told The Print. According to Watt, it is not clear whether the bots were influencing people to flee Ukraine or Russia. Watt added, quote, we cannot conclude where this is happening due to having no geographical information on the origin of accounts. All we can conclude is that the bot accounts are influencing more discussion surrounding moving, fleeing, going, or staying in a country/location. Yeah, and it just goes into the more pro-Ukraine bots and a little bit more of the details, how bots trigger emotions, which is, of course, the big part of the Psyop here, is creating that emotional trigger, sometimes better than factual stories or any kind of real story. And the connection here, I don't. Did you have anything on the little rabbit trail? The 30-second rabbit trail?
Botometer. It's a little app. It's a little browser-based app. You do have to connect your Twitter account, which I did for a second. I am now going to unconnect it. I was just checking my account to see if it thought I was a bot. So you insert somebody's Twitter profile handle, and it gives you a score as to whether it thinks that that account is a bot or not. It's not very. I haven't dug into the
methodology behind it.
The methodology yet. I will kind of pitter around that in a second. I plugged my account in there. I was a little afraid. It rates it 0 to 5. Mm-hmm. 0 to 5, my account, it rates 0.3. Not a bot. So
I'm going to do face like the sun on air here. Let's see. Check user.
I'm going to do
you can check user, check followers, check friends. Interesting. Well, user we already know is not a bot. I am a human.
Ooh, uh-oh. At Canary Cry Radio rates 3.2. Orange. Possible bot activity.
Oh, you got to authorize.
That makes sense. We just post about the show, really. So
yeah, that's true. They might think we are a bot. Okay, let's see what Face Like the Sun pulls up here. Anything?
This is a pretty good little tool. I'm going to use this.
Whoa. There's a bunch of crazy names popping up. 0.5 out of 5. What does that mean?
That means not a bot. Not a bot.
Yay. All these other
not likely a bot. Oh, you can check all of your followers.
All of your followers. Yeah, that's what's interesting.
Many
I can
of your
see who
followers
are likely bots or inactive or whatever. Yeah, this is great.
Oh, that's useful. That's useful. Ooh, I found a bot. I found a 100% bot following our account.
Jensen B16, we're on to you. Beep bloop bloop.
We're on to you.
So okay, so this is about
331.
This is about Twitter, allowing these bots. But in connection, the reason why China comes into play is because Vice.com headline here: Twitter whistleblower says 3 was there. 3. I'm losing my mind. Twitter whistleblowers say there was at least one Chinese spy working at the company. Peter Mudge Zatko accused Twitter of employing an undercover Chinese intelligence agent inside the company. Hacking, disinformation, surveillance, cyber is Motherboard's podcast and reporting on... What? That's not part of the thing. In testimony to a Senate committee, a Twitter whistleblower said that the Chinese government had placed at least one agent of the country's intelligence agency undercover as a Twitter employee, which is not surprising at all. Former Twitter head of security Peter Zatko made the allegations during his testimony in front of the Senate's Judiciary Committee on Tuesday. Last month, Zatko, who is best known for his hacker handle Mudge, filed a whistleblower complaint accusing Twitter of having a series of grave cybersecurity issues, including insider threats, lack of monitoring, and the presence of an Indian government agent working inside of Twitter.
Mm-hmm. An Indian government agent.
Why does the headline say China and then it gets into the... now Zatko said... Oh, that's last month. Now Zatko said India was not the only foreign government that put one of its agents inside of Twitter. Quote, I had been told because the corporate security physical security team had been contacted and told that there was at least one agent of the MSS, which is one of China's intelligence services, on the payroll inside Twitter, Mudge said. Quote, while it was disturbing to hear, I and many others had recognized the state of the environment at Twitter. We're really thinking if you're not placing foreign agents inside Twitter, it's because it's very difficult to detect them. It is very valuable to a foreign agent to be inside there. As a foreign intelligence agency, you're most likely not doing your job, end quote. So anyway, there you go. We can read more about it another time.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Of course, they got agents in Twitter. Of course. You wouldn't be a very good, international spy agency
if you couldn't get a job. Yeah, and with an ironic twist, Gizmodo headline: China accuses the NSA of hacking a top university to steal data.
Oh no! Poor China is mad at the
NSA hacking Chinese universities. How dare they?
Oh, it's like our own version of the Confucius Institute.
Yeah. Hey, China, what about your Confucius Institute in 120 universities across America or something?
Yeah, and your constant hacking of the U.S. government. And I mean, of course, the NSA hacks its own citizens. Why wouldn't it hack China?
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, that's fun. That's all. It's all a good time over there at the universities, especially Harvard. Man, they got Brian Stelter. I'm sure they're throwing some kind of party where they get to hold wine, in some glass and whisk it around as they talk about the evil Putin Russians.
Yeah, hopefully, with all these spies and Twitter, there isn't a rash of defenestration events at Twitter headquarters. That would not be a good way to spend their resources. All right, it's party time.
Go to canarycry.party. It's a website with a tree of links.
Party time.
Find how to watch the show, listen to the show, produce the show, connect with us and the community.
That's right. And there's all sorts of resources and good stuff over there at canarycry.party. You can join the newsletter. You can join the text message list. You can check out the street team posters, which if you are doing a meetup, I highly recommend you print out some of these street team posters. Make it an activity at the meetup to hang up some of the posters. You can find that at canarycrystreetteam.com. Excuse me. I got a runny nose today.
Those emus, man.
Wouldn't it be a shame if I found out I was allergic to emus? Who's allergic to emus? Come on. But there's other great stuff. You can listen to Ravel. Ravel is a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, who's a PhD in biblical interpretation. We explore scripture, society, and scandal, having tough conversations in good faith. Go check it out. You can listen to it right there at canarycry.party. We hit our 1-year anniversary recently, and we've got a lot of great celebratory interviews and topics we are going to be digging into. This Sunday, we have an Asked and Not Answered episode, which are some of our favorite episodes, which I highly recommend people check out. Some people, they want the heavy duty 2 hours of the same topic. But the Asked and Not Answered is where we answer your listener questions about the Bible and about theology, things like that. We hit some pretty important topics this week. So go check it out, Ravel. What else is there? You can also check out the Canary Cry Clips channel. Subscribe. If you haven't yet, you need to subscribe to the Canary Cry Clips channel on YouTube and Odyssey. It's this show clipped out into shareable segments. So you don't have to listen or watch the entire 4 hours or whatever. You can simply go ahead and check out the segments piece by piece, see what you like, or review information. And go ahead and share those. Just post the links on your Twitter or your Facebook or whatever. That would be very helpful for us. And, I'm always surprised the amount of people who don't know Canary Cry Clips exist. We've recently had some people ask about it. Why don't you guys clip the show? We do. Go subscribe to Canary Cry Clips. Thank you to those producers who manage that channel. And last but not least, you can get the text message alerts by texting the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's Canary to 877-740-3226. Go do it. People are loving it. And with that, let's thank some producers.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Like you heard earlier in the show, we're on the value for value model. We take no corporate money whatsoever because with corporate money comes corporate interests. And corporate interests are what got us in this mess in the first place. The corporations have no place in mainstream legacy corporate news analysis and deconstruction. And it's only possible with the support of producers like you.
Did you have a freeze, a moment?
Yeah, sorry, my brain froze when I was trying to reload to see if any new producers came in, and
your brain
with
also reloaded.
My Cyberlink neural net whatever implant. When a web page is loading, all my CPU power in my brain has to go to loading the web page. Anyways, yes, we need producers. Producers are the only way that we stay alive, and you can produce in different ways. With your time, your talent, or your treasure. It truly is a system that relies on eschewing the widespread corruption that comes from corporate interests, even in your independent media. And I believe is one of the more integrous ways to create what we create on the internet. And it is not easy. It is not easy. It is not consistent. And the measure of reliability comes from the value received by producers and the value put back into the system by producers. And that's why we love to thank them. We'll thank them now. We already thanked. Yes?
No, go ahead. I thought you were going to ask me if I'm ready, and I was going to say ready. But instead you didn't. So it would have been weird for me to say ready right there.
Well, it would have been fine. We would have saved some time because I was going to ask you if you're ready. He's ready, folks. Let's thank him now. We will start out with our producers. Scrolling. Wow. Okay. Short list today.
Yeah.
Short list. Really short list. We'll start out with Sir LX Protocol V2 Night of the Berean Protocol.
Oh, wrong button. Thank
75
you,
episodes. 75 episodes in a row. Yeah, pocket full of sevens and a note. It's Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Thank you, and have a blessed day. You guys are great. Thank you. You're great, Sir Alex Protocol.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we got producer Kevin K. Kevin K comes in with a pocket full of sevens plus fees. Thank you, Kevin. And it says, referring to the scone of stone. I remember that. The scone of stone. Yes, the stone of destiny. I'd highly encourage you to watch Eye of the Phoenix, Secret of the Dollar Bill. Surely we've seen this one. Interestingly enough, I'm pretty sure the narrator also does Dark Clouds over Elberton.
Yeah, it's Chris
First-time producer. Oh, yeah. First-time producer, but really like the show. Hey, let's give Kevin a D-mooching.
Oh, D-mooch. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Kevin K.
Thank you very much, producer Kevin K. Let's see. We've got Sir. Yeah,
I was going to just real quick. I had met Chris Pinto, I think 2011 or 2012, and we actually went to the Denver airport with all those murals. And Chris is a very loud, boisterous guy, and it was hilarious to be standing in the airport and him being like, "This is where they show the Freemasons," right? Like just loud, so everybody can hear.
Yeah.
The Lord is against this. It was awesome. But anyway.
That's fun.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, love it. Next up, we have Sir Morv, Knight of the Burning Chariots.
Yeah, Sir Morv.
Yes. Comes in with 1111 on a 139 episode streak.
Thank you, Morv. Sir Morv.
Sir Morv. And that is it as far as people who came in for $7.77 plus fees.
Well, Jennifer I as well.
Yeah, we got producer. The exec is, of course, very nice. Oh, wait, we got one here. We have Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch.
All right, Sir JC got in there.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah, comes in with the 1001.
Okay.
1001. Amen.
Yes,
He's
thank
on a
you
streak.
very much. Yes. Hold on. It just came in, so I'm settle your buns there, Gonzo. 146 episodes in a row.
Yeah. There we go.
And let's see here. He has a note, and the note reads like this. Oh, come on. Here we go. It's WMD.
Yes.
Hey guys, know what date it is? It's Wednesday. Time for the Canary Cry News Sucker. Yeehaw!
Looking forward to more Burning Man content from Basil. Hope everyone has an excellent day. Thank you. Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch. Well, thank you to everybody in the chat and of course, Sir JC for saying that, because I was not getting very much feedback about the recent Burning Man updates. In fact, the only feedback I was getting was extraordinarily negative. So I wasn't feeling very good about it. I was going to withhold. Yeah, withhold Burning Man updates until the official content was ready. But if you guys are liking it, I certainly have more to talk about. So I will do that. I'll bring it back on Friday. Okay, there we go. That concludes the list of producers over 777. 4 of them. 4 producers. Thank you very much to those 4 extraordinary producers. 3 of them are on a streak and are knights, so are reliable, faithful supporters. Thank you, guys. And, of course, Kevin K. Demooched. God bless you, Kevin K. And that's it. Now, let's see here. Oh, we are combining a couple things today, correct?
Yes, we're doing the people below 777 in this break as well, yeah.
Yes, thank you. So that concludes the list of people who came in above 777, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. There's a few people who came in under that. And we'll just thank them real quick now, starting off with Runk Smash, 23 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Runk Smash.
Then we got Gail M, 170 episodes in a row.
Women rule.
Thank you, Gail M.
Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Pandas, 44 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Darren.
Veronica D, 170 episodes in a row.
Women rule.
Thank you, Veronica D.
Sir Scott Knight of Truth, a 194 episode streak.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
And then, of course, Sir Casey the Shield Knight, the streak, top of the heap, 205 episodes in a row.
Oh, yeah.
Streakalicious. Streakalicious, baby. Okay. As of this exact moment, that concludes our list of financial producers for the day. Thank you very much. We got one more. Just came in. Must have felt bad for us. Producer Malik came in.
Malik, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Malik.
Comes in nice. Second episode in a row?
It must be 2. Yeah, it must be two in a row.
There you go. Thank you, Malik.
It did come in on Monday. Thank you, Malik. Okay, there we go. We got 5 over 777. Yep. Okay, there we go. Thank you all for your patronage. Remember, you can support the show by heading on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support. Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Yes, it's wake-up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Cue the miserable, cue the desperate. What must I do to convince you people? You're right, Q.
So you see, I also call myself a Christian nationalist. And that's not a bad word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we continue to explore and deconstruct what seems to be sort of simultaneously a real issue that I believe Christians need to deal with, and an entirely sort of narrativized construct of the mainstream media to create an enemy where once there was none, but they needed to explain all this talk about threats to democracy. And Christian nationalism or Christofascism has been the sort of boogeyman created to serve this purpose. And this was a great find, Gons. You found a clip of a local news report.
Yes.
From, let's see, WVLT 8, Knoxville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how you want to do this. I think we should just play the clip all the way through, no context, let it speak for itself, and then we can comment after.
Okay. All right.
What do you think?
That's fine. Yeah, we'll go full screen here, and let me pull that video. I guess I didn't have it ready, but here it is. And boom.
It was like I was in a movie or a nightmare or something. Like, how could this happen to me?
Rebecca Lannis says her grandmother called her Sunday morning, asking if she was in the hospital. Unaware of the tragedy that unfolded at her home in Walled Lake, Rebecca found that question to be strange and says she was at a friend's sleepover. She soon learned her sister, Rachel, had been shot and critically injured, and her mother had been shot and killed by her father.
I had a really close bond with my mom. And I just can't believe that she's not here.
The Oakland County Sheriff says when officers responded to the home, 52-year-old Igor Lannis opened fire on them. A Walled Lake police officer and an Oakland County deputy returned fire, killing Lannis. The Sheriff's Department says Lannis had also killed the family dog. Rebecca says her father had never been physically violent, but his behavior started spiraling about 2 years ago.
He became a different person after 2020 when Trump lost.
She says he started getting more agitated at normal things, and that he often found a way to bring up conspiracy theories about the vaccine, 5G, and electromagnetic fields. Rebecca also says her father turned to extremism, like QANON, a political conspiracy theory and political movement centered around baseless claims that former President Trump was fighting enemies within a so-called deep state and a sex trafficking ring run by satanic cannibals.
Online extremism, QAnon, right-wing extremism.
She says this tragedy is a warning for people to pay attention to their loved ones who may need help.
I think that people need to focus more on radicalization, QAnon, and if they have relatives with guns who are like this, you need to get them help, and they need to get checked in a mental institution, even if you think they're not dangerous.
End of report with a creepy, no sound, wobbly image of the home.
Yeah,
now,
so
I didn't want you to. I wanted you to stick to your commitment of no commentary. But yes, there's a lot to break down here.
You punished me very well. Yes, I immediately regretted that decision, and so thank you, Daddy, for holding me to it. I will smoke the whole pack now. Thank you. So yes, I think it's more valuable now to go through some of the things because it kind of gave away the punchline at the end.
It's okay. It's okay because there are certain things in the construct of this video report that screams just stuff. Okay, so let's do it again.
First of all, this girl, for those who are just listening, this girl looks like she's straight from Central Casting. Straight up Hollywood casting of tragic Appalachian teen. Imagine in your head, tragic Appalachian teen. That is, you are exactly picturing it correctly. And there are so many things that speak to this. Number one, let's see. You got her up there now.
Yeah, I've had her up. Yeah.
Let's just talk about the complexion. Okay,
sure.
Look. You're going first. No, okay, no. Here's the first thing.
Spit it out, buddy.
Here's the first thing. No, there's a lot of things to break down. First of all, this was posted on the day after her entire family was murdered. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt that this was the day after she was being interviewed. Let's just say they put the whole story together in a day. The day after your entire family is murdered by your crazy QAnon father. and you're standing in front of a bush talking to a reporter about the murder of your entire family, and the ease, the eloquence with which she is able to make this case that it's because of QAnon, it's because of Trump, it's because of this, it's because of that, is so suspicious. I mean, it is. Look, I don't doubt that it actually happened. I guess I have no reason to doubt that it happened, but maybe she is in a state of shock. Maybe she is in what's the word?
Disoriented.
There's a word for when you disconnect. Disassociate. Yes, she might be in some sort of state of disassociated shock, and perhaps that explains the calm demeanor, the ability to articulate the reasons your father murdered your family the night before you are now standing with this reporter. Yeah. And if it is the case that she is so in shock and disassociated and suffering undoubtedly some sort of unimaginable mental trauma, she should be in some sort of situation of care, not being taken advantage of by this reporter. If indeed this really happened, if indeed she somehow agreed to give this interview the day after, she is not mentally well, and this reporter should at least go to court for what he's doing. This is an incredible display of child abuse, if this is the case. And you look at her, she looks like she's a character straight out of Ozark. She looks like a character from Winter's Bone or something. She's got sort of her hair is all messy. It looks like she's been running or something. Her eyes are sort of, the complexion of her face. It looks like kind of a Hollywood makeup, like, yes, tragic Appalachian teen. Let's go for that look. Yeah. A baggy sort of beige shirt. If you're dressing up for a TV interview, I don't know. You just would think that it wouldn't look like you just got out of a horror film. And look, I don't mean to be insensitive. I'm just looking at this. I know. There's even the reporter should have been like, "Hey, we have a makeup girl with us. Can we help you? Can we do your hair? Yeah. Can we get you out of what looks to be?" Her shirt looks like what somebody who has been taken captive by ISIS or something would be wearing. Sure. So anyways, that right off the bat. And then, of course, the calmness, the articulation, very suspicious. And immediately she spends more time. The most personal thing she says is, "Yes, I cannot believe that my mother was murdered yesterday. By the way, QAnon, Trump, radicalism, owned guns, mental illness, and rattles it off. It is so bizarre." Well, there's a couple things. I mean, I think she was coached, obviously, to say certain things, but also, even if you don't have that perspective on this is somebody who is, like you said, disassociated, but certainly numb. And I think the youth in general are numbed because of all the horrible news, and then she probably it's like, oh, it's just my turn to have the tragedy or whatever, which is a certain form of its mind control, regardless of whether the purposefulness of the story is true or not. So there's one thing. I think you're right. Just to comment on that, looks drugged, sounds drugged. Yeah, very likely could be drugged, and probably not in a malicious way by the reporter or something. I mean, it wouldn't be unheard of to be like, "Wow, you're really hysterical. Would you like a Xanax to do this? To calm down." To do that's not unheard of. I'm not gonna accuse the reporter of that or whatever, or the producer rather. But kids these days, man, they got all sorts of drugs available to them from their mental health doctors. So,
I want to go through the minute 50 seconds again, and there are certain particular things that I want to highlight.
It was like I was in a movie or a nightmare or something. Like
the movie nightmare thing, very reminiscent of any kind of mind-controlled trauma, because anytime a tragedy happens, I remember 9/11, my first thought was, oh my gosh, this is like a movie, because we've been conditioned to sort of relate to these things to the entertainment industry. So there's that.
Or something like, how could this happen to me?
Rebecca Lannis says her grandmother called her Sunday morning asking if she was in the hospital. Unaware of the tragedy that unfolded at her home in Walled Lake.
Okay, that's a suspicious detail.
Were you shot too? Are you in the hospital too, dear?
Yeah. What if the grandma heard that the husband murdered the whole family?
And then was murdered by the police. If the
guy was,
I think so. There was a shooting.
I must have missed that part. Yeah. Well, how would she not already? What a strange question to call and ask.
Yeah.
If she was in the hospital. Unaware of the tragedy that unfolded at her home in Walled Lake, Rebecca found that question to be strange and says she was at a friend's sleepover. She soon learned her sister, Rachel, had been shot and critically injured, and her mother had been shot and killed by her father.
I had a really close bond with my mom, and I just can't believe that she's not here.
That right there, kind of looking around. She's looking at the camera. She's looking at the reporter. She's going back and forth. Shifty eyes. Very. There's not a lot of confidence in what she's saying, but also looks like she's a bad actress. That's what it comes off as to me. I don't
either
need
a bad actress or drugged. Yeah.
With my mom, and I just can't believe that she's not here.
The Oakland County Sheriff says...
You're right. Sorry. So for those who are listening, you really got to watch it. She's doing this... She kind of shifts from side to side, shifts her weight on her feet. She kind of
am I saying the right thing? Am I saying it right?
Rolls her shoulders a little bit. Just very strange, body language.
My mom, and I just can't believe that she's not here.
The Oakland County Sheriff says when officers responded to the home, 52-year-old Igor Lannis opened fire on them. A Walled Lake police officer and an Oakland County deputy returned fire, killing Lannis. The Sheriff's Department says Lannis had also killed the family dog.
Of course, you got to get the Sarah McLachlan, face shot of the dog, cute dog.
Yeah.
Rebecca says her father had never been physically violent, but his behavior started spiraling about 2 years ago.
He became a different person after 2020 when Trump lost.
She says he started getting...
It's one of those news things where they keep talking, but they cut off what they're saying, and the reporter summarizes it.
This is infuriating. This happens all the time.
It happens all the time in the news reporting.
Yeah. Anyways.
About 2 years ago.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Again, hours since your father shot up your whole family, and she just seems to have this theory about why it happened already, just ready to go.
Yeah, half the report is the theory.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago.
He became a different person after 2020 when Trump lost.
She says he started getting more agitated at normal things, and that he often found a way to bring up conspiracy theories about the vaccine, 5G, and electromagnetic fields. Rebecca also says her father turned to extremism.
Sorry. I don't know, just the wording of that. Found a way to bring up conspiracy theories.
Way to bring up conspiracy
I don't doubt that he was annoying his family. I'm sure that that's very common
thing. More agitated at normal things, and that he often found a way to bring up conspiracy theories about the vaccine, 5G, and electromagnetic fields. Rebecca also says her father turned to extremism, like QAnon, a political...
Okay. Now, Basil, I am an audio engineer.
It's added later. Yeah.
It is very obvious.
Recording.
It is very obvious when you hear the details of the audio quality that this reporter was told, you gotta include this. And so he had to edit in this extra part, because after it, when you go back to the narrator,
in his car,
like on his phone or something, he didn't have the same rig.
Yeah, he sent in the report. The editor watched it, said, look, you need another 60 seconds on QAnon. Make it all about QAnon. You could give me another 60 seconds. And he had to take out his phone, in his car. This is how these, these local reporters have to do it. It's a hard job, but you really got to patch it together sometimes.
Right. So you can
and
hear
then he came up with this next part.
You can hear the difference, and then you'll hear the tonality of his voice go back to what it was before.
Normal things, and that he often found a way to bring up conspiracy theories about the vaccine, 5G, and electromagnetic fields. Rebecca also says her father turned to extremism, like QANON, a political conspiracy theory and political movement centered around baseless claims that former President Trump was fighting enemies within a so-called deep state and a sex trafficking ring run by satanic cannibals.
Satanic cannibals, not pedophiles.
Satanic cannibals. Yeah.
Isn't that a strange twist of detail?
I bet the editor sent that to him.
Of course,
sent him the paragraph. Yeah,
it's almost hilarious. The edit. It's like when people do the purposely do the extra edit thing with the voice change. It's
like QAnon, a political conspiracy theory and political movement centered around baseless claims that former President Trump was fighting enemies within a so-called deep state and a sex trafficking ring run by satanic cannibals.
Online extremism, QAnon, right-wing extremism.
She says this tragedy is a warning.
Stop.
No context, just her saying those things.
Nice little whipsaw here.
Yeah.
It's called, I don't know if it's quite a whipsaw because it is related to what he's talking about. But just plug in, like what? Did he just, like, I'm trying to imagine how the reporter got this part out out of her.
It had to have been.
I need her to list these things.
There's no way.
QAnon. I don't know if she says white supremacy, but right-wing extremism.
Satanic cannibals.
Online extremism. QAnon, right-wing extremism.
She said.
So what kid would say online extremism, QAnon, right-wing extremism? I mean, the online extremism, that just screams somebody gave her a list to read.
Pretty bad.
Right-wing extremism.
She says this tragedy is a warning for people to pay attention to their loved ones who may need help.
I think that people need to focus more on radicalization, QAnon, and if they have relatives with guns who are like this, you need to get them help, and they need to get checked in a mental institution, even if you think they're not dangerous.
End of report. Weird, creepy, shaky footage of the house.
So much there.
The way she kind of peeks at the camera. It's again, I'm kind of looking at her body movement, which is difficult for just listeners, but she's again doing that shifty thing. She sounds like she's trying to recite some things that she was told to recite. I mean,
especially the first sentence. Can you play that part again?
Who may need help.
I think that people need to focus more on radicalization, QAnon, and if they have relatives.
Doesn't that sound like she's trying to remember all the things?
Yes, it sounds like she's trying to remember. What question did a reporter ask a minor?
Yeah.
With no parents present that got this minor to say, I think people need to focus more on radicalization.
Yeah. Those are not words of a
15
or 16-year-old or something. Yeah. There's no way.
Of a teenager whose both parents are now dead.
Yeah, the day after.
And the day after, right. It's just so bizarre.
Yeah.
All right. I say play it through again and we'll let it speak for itself. We got other news.
From the beginning.
It was like I was in a movie or a nightmare or something. Like, how could this happen to me?
Rebecca Lannis says her grandmother called her Sunday morning asking if she was in the hospital. Unaware of the tragedy that unfolded at her home in Walled Lake, Rebecca found that question to be strange and says she was at a friend's sleepover. She soon learned her sister, Rachel, had been shot and critically injured, and her mother had been shot and killed by her father.
I had a really close bond with my mom, and I just can't believe that she's not here.
The Oakland County Sheriff says when officers responded to the home, 52-year-old Igor Lannis opened fire on them. A Walled Lake police officer and an Oakland County deputy returned fire, killing Lannis. The Sheriff's Department says Lannis had also killed the family dog. Rebecca says her father had never been physically violent, but his behavior started spiraling about 2 years ago.
He became a different person after 2020 when Trump lost.
She says he started getting more agitated at normal things and that he often found a way to bring up conspiracy theories about the vaccine, 5G, and electromagnetic fields. Rebecca also says her father turned to extremism, like QANON, a political conspiracy theory and political movement centered around baseless claims that former President Trump was fighting enemies within a so-called deep state and a sex trafficking ring run by satanic cannibals.
Online extremism, QAnon, right-wing extremism.
She says this tragedy is a warning for people to pay attention to their loved ones who may need help.
I think that people need to focus more on radicalization, QAnon. And if they have relatives with guns who are like this, you need to get them help, and they need to get checked in a mental institution, even if you think they're not dangerous.
Yeah, not
if you have relatives who are like this and they have guns, you need to get them checked into a mental institution, even if they're not violent. That
is so obviously the messaging. It's unbelievable.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of which,
she's
are you
woke.
even woke?
She's for sure woke.
Yeah.
Are you even woke?
Woke up, man.
Oh boy.
This is a fun one, buddy. Are you ready to go on an adventure with me?
No. You got really amped about this before the show. I was like,
well, I don't know. Look, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Oh, of course, come on, load highlights, load.
Just give it a second.
No.
Man.
I will. I'm giving it a second. I need the highlights to load because that'll make this way easier. Anywho, so yeah, you really, 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 really got to pay attention to the details here.
I need a map.
And if my highlights load, it'll be easier. Otherwise, I'll walk you through it. This is from insider.com. And the headline is Trans and Adoptive Parents. Trans and adoptive parents are breastfeeding without giving birth. It, quote, it made me feel more like a mom. Okay. Trans and adoptive parents.
Yeah. Really, really interesting header image there, too.
Yeah. So, and I'm pointing out the trans part because we'll get to the thing. Trans and adoptive, those seem to be connected in here. And we'll see how it goes. Here's the intro. Jackie Kent will never forget the moment her son Everett latched onto her breast for the first time. Giving birth and breastfeeding a child were things she'd always longed to do, but after some failed intrauterine insemination procedures, an examination led to the discovery that Kent's uterus had a congenital defect. Kent, 35, and her wife, Megan, were told Kent would never be able to carry a baby. The couple, who lived in Chico, California, decided to switch roles, with Kent giving her eggs, but Megan carrying their child. Kent resigned herself to the dream of breastfeeding being over. So this is a lesbian couple, as far as we can tell. A lesbian couple trying to have a baby. But after a friend adopted a baby, the couple learned of a process called induced lactation, a regimen of medication and pumping meant to trick the body into thinking it is pregnant and encourage it to produce milk. Kent knew it was something she wanted. The day Megan gave birth to Everett, Kent was there to breastfeed him. She and Megan later went on to co-feed their second child, Sutton, for the first 6 weeks of her life. Quote, breastfeeding felt so normal and natural, and it felt like I finally had space to step into the role of being a mom in the way I had envisioned it, end quote. Kent told Insider. Quote, I felt like my body had failed me related to pregnancy, and this gave me a new way to feel about my body. So an opening story.
That picture is really
Oh, yes. There's going to be some breastfeeding pictures. So opening story about a lesbian couple, specifically one of the women did not have the ability to bear child and subsequently was not going to be able to breastfeed because that's what triggers the breastfeeding mechanisms. And this quote I thought was very interesting. Breastfeeding felt so normal and natural. And it felt like I finally had a space to step into the role of being a mom in the way I had envisioned it. Yeah. Normal and natural. Now, I could save this till the end, but I will return to it. Remember, Gonzo, the baby formula shortage.
Yes.
In January and February and March of 2022 is when it really came to a head. The baby formula shortage was running parallel to a social movement that we reported on at the time that strove to consider breastfeeding as unnatural, or the idea of calling breastfeeding natural a problematic thing to do.
Yeah.
Case in point, we have the CNN article here.
This is from March 2016, though. I think.
This is even further back.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think that campaign. Both of your articles that you have here are
it's
from
an
2016.
Ongoing campaign.
I think that campaign has been long-standing, so it's interesting that they would, Insider would go this direction.
Thanks for pointing that out. I apologize. I just did a quick Google search. I could have gone into
Gotta go to the news tab. Gotta go to the news tab. Hold on, let me try to find something.
Well, do a quick thing. Yes, while I describe. I should have gone back in our notes and our sources.
Yeah.
But we were trying to get started early, and I thought I was saving time. But apparently I saved time by grabbing articles that were way too old. But those who were listening to this show or just paying attention to the news at all in January, February, and March, you remember the baby food shortage and the hullabaloo about how we need to stop calling breastfeeding natural. There was a number of, all the mainstream outlets were posting it, but of course it was a movement on Twitter. There were studies being brought up. One of the studies was from the American Academy of Pediatrics. With the study titled Unintended Consequences of Invoking the Natural in Breastfeeding Promotion. So calling breastfeeding natural was causing issues. And those issues, I think it's interesting that this particular article from CNN is from 2016 because when you read why they thought that this was problematic, my highlights are not in here too. Okay, I'm going back to the study from American
Pediatrics.
What is it? Academy of Pediatrics, right? They specifically cite that calling breastfeeding natural could encourage people to consider vaccines unnatural. Even in 2016, they were using breastfeeding, calling breastfeeding natural as an excuse, they were saying if we think of breastfeeding as natural, then we might think that vaccines are unnatural. Ooh. So this is sort of a weird vaccine-related psyop that predates the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, there's
Are you
a couple.
Able to pull anything more recent?
There's some general references from Huffington Post UK, published on August 15th of 2022. 7 things nobody tells you about breastfeeding. In that first quote there, breastfeeding is the most unnatural thing ever, a friend told me. And then I also have this Motherly article from motherly.ly. From March 31st, and the headline, I didn't breastfeed my newborn and I shouldn't have to explain why. And there's a part in here, I was angry at everyone, at myself for not feeling the way it seemed every other mother felt when they nursed their baby, angry at my son for needing me in this way that was so unnatural and uncomfortable.
Yeah,
so
and this
on.
is the problem with calling it natural. This was their whole thing, was A, it might make you think that medical science is unnatural, so you won't take medicine if you think breastfeeding is natural. And the other was that it stigmatizes the women who can't breastfeed.
Right.
So, you might hurt feelings by calling breastfeeding natural. And here we go, back to the Insider article. Remember, lesbian couple. Breastfeeding felt so normal and natural. And it doesn't stop there. So I'm going to skip a bit in the middle here. It talks about the benefits of breastfeeding and the process of inducing lactation. Not important for the purpose of this, but a mixture of birth control pills, a drug you cannot get in the U.S. that is not approved by the FDA, and some herbs and thistle and stuff like that. Sort of semi-reliably can induce lactation if you haven't been pregnant. It's something like 31%.
Right.
There are some sub-headlines here, again, making the case. Inducing lactation can help with the trauma of infertility. Tells a story about an infertile woman who could not breastfeed their adopted child, again, referring to the adopted parents. Remember the headline says trans and adopted parents. So there's two cases of adoptive parents.
Where's the trans part?
I'm getting there now. The next headline. Induced lactation can help trans parents affirm their gender identity.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's get into it. Induced lactation can help trans parents affirm their gender identity. I was really fascinated with this because if a biological man, I was wondering if a biological man transitions to a woman, a trans woman, I thought, my understanding was that there was some like hardware issues that would make it difficult for a biological man.
All the chemical stuff you can do with some kind of induction process could make the biological man feel like a mom, right? That's kind of the first thought, but no, that's not.
Well, and I was thinking of even the tubing and the glands necessary.
Sure.
You don't get the tubing installed, or at least I didn't know. I didn't know if this was the case or not. So, induced lactation can help trans parents affirm gender identity. Now, it also did bring up, images that have been shared widely of trans men sort of breastfeeding children, and it's sort of celebrated as the new sort of family thing. It was always my understanding in those photos that it was more of a bonding experience than a feeding experience. And I think that is the case. But here we go. Induced lactation can help trans parents affirm their gender identity. Now, bear with me, please.
Come on.
Look, when it comes to the trans stuff, you gotta
know what they're talking about.
You gotta parse it out as it goes. So
help us parse it out
smoothly as possible. It goes like this. Induced lactation is also popular with trans parents, both those who have transitioned from female to male and those from male to female. Silberstein said she recently worked with a trans woman whose wife was pregnant.
So that's a biological man.
Biological man who had a wife who was pregnant, which means biological woman. Using the Newman-Goldfarb protocol, that's the lactation protocol, the woman has been able to produce some milk.
So
now, when they said woman here, I was wondering, are they talking about the trans woman or the woman?
Yeah.
Okay. Christina Avery, 40, from Ontario, Canada, was already a mother of 2 teenagers when she fell in love with her future husband, Radford Cohen. A year into their relationship, Cohen, the husband, told Avery he planned to transition from female to male. Okay, so... No, I'm not trying to joke. I'm just trying to get it straight because they refer to the husband as a male the whole time.
Right, at the beginning. They're talking about the same couple here?
No, different couple.
Okay.
But it's 2 biological women. One of the women already, one of the biological women already had 2 teenagers. Okay. Got married. One of the women transitioned to a man. They call it him the husband. So Cohen told Avery he planned to transition from male to female, but still wanted
female to male.
Female to male. Yeah. Thank you. Female to male, but still wanted to have biological children. He gave birth to their first baby, Wilder, in April. Okay. Lesbian couple, one transitions to male. The biological female bits of the husband allows the man, the trans man, to give birth.
Okay.
Trust, it keeps going. So stay with me. Since Cohen had his breast tissue removed, this is the trans man, had his breast tissue removed as part of his transition, he's unable to feed from his chest. So Avery decided she would try to induce lactation instead. The trans man had his breasts
the
removed.
Biological woman had maybe like a breast reduction or something, and
it got it taken off completely.
Yeah.
Yes. So the hardware is not even there.
Yeah.
The trans parent of this couple is not the one that is doing the lactating. Avery, the woman, the biological woman, is the one going to do the breastfeeding.
Okay.
And she needs to induce lactation because she was not the one who carried the child. Quote, having nursed my first 2 children well into toddlerhood, I was familiar with the benefits in terms of health and attachment, Avery said. Quote, it seemed like a nice way to split the parental load. My partner is extraordinarily supportive and was my number 1 cheerleader. Unfortunately, Wilder had a tongue tie and spent time in the hospital with jaundice. Wilder's the child. I had to look up tongue tie. It's a thing where the tongue is kind of stuck to the bottom of the mouth, which compromised the regularity of Avery's milk supply. She still nurses a few times a day, but has to supplement with donor milk from a bottle. Quote, I'm still pro-induced lactation, she said. Quote, it has been lovely to be able to feed my baby and give them some of the benefits of breastfeeding. It's also nice to still be able to bond with them in that way. And then it moves on. That is the end of the story. So the headline, trans and adoptive parents doing the induced lactation, and the subheadline, induced lactation can help trans parents affirm their gender identity. The lactation, no trans person has done any induced lactation. It is a biological woman who is doing the breastfeeding.
Yep.
Where is the trans person being affirmed by the biological woman breastfeeding?
Basil, if you're a trans man and you may be a biological woman, but you do have those parts up top removed to be more shapely as a man, what you'd want is to be affirmed that you cannot.
Oh, it is dawning on me as you were talking about this. That is exactly correct. Inducing lactation in a biological woman helps the trans parent, the trans man,
who's a biological
feel
woman,
affirmed, because he can't breastfeed.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, I
thought you understood this prior to the show when you were stuck on this topic, and I told you.
You did not communicate that very well.
You weren't listening to me,
I don't think
buddy.
you had it. I don't think you had it. I think you just got it just now.
No, I was trying to tell you this from the beginning.
No, stop it. Now that we're on air, you're acting all confident. No, this is anywho. Well, it still remains. Okay, now I understand it. So a biological woman doing what a biological woman does affirms the identity of a trans man. I understand now. Wow, that is you really got to go around the bend.
You really got to dig on this one.
To get there, huh?
But you're right in that it goes against all the unnatural talk about breastfeeding, which is still kind of interesting. It all felt so natural because it is an unnatural process, I guess, if you're inducing it in a female who's not actually naturally being...
If you're not pregnant, you're inducing it, that
hormones.
Is an unnatural breastfeeding.
Right. So it's literally like a scientific procedure. It's done on her. Makes it feel so... it's only natural when it's induced scientifically. The natural is unnatural.
The 1984 double-speak, mind-bendingly complicated message of this, and I include it with the early 2022 message of stop calling breastfeeding natural. You combine it with the message of this article from the Insider. It is literally natural breastfeeding is unnatural. Mm-hmm. Unnatural breastfeeding is natural.
Yeah. That's what it is.
And a biological woman breastfeeding unnaturally affirms the gender identity of the trans man who can no longer lactate.
Listen, these people
It is the most mind-bending... No. I'm not even mad. I'm just saying... I'm not even saying anything about any of the human beings involved in this. That is not... If somebody is tempted to cancel me or to take my words or whatever, I'm just telling you, nothing against nobody. Mm-hmm. The presentation of this narrative from the mainstream media and the scientific establishment is so mind-bendingly complicated and honestly backwards, and presented in such a wholesome, sort of emotional, family values, family-oriented, beauty of birth, human experience type of way, making you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. You don't even stop to think twice about the bizarre message that it's trying to send. Unnatural is natural, natural is unnatural, which is the exact message that fits in with the American Academy of Pediatrics trying to say don't call breastfeeding natural because then people might think vaccines are unnatural, calling breastfeeding unnatural so that we consider vaccines natural. This is psychological operations to the highest order.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong, pretty strong mind control weapon.
Mind control weapons.
And how dare you even question? I know you try to keep the people out of it, but I'm sure a lot of listeners are that. How dare you? Because these people are our gods. They're homo superior. They can freely move between genders. They're fluid.
It really is. It is the manifestation of the time that we are in.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Russian KGB defector who was just like, we're just going to spend 30 years confusing your population to the point where they don't know what is true, they don't know what is false, they do not know what is natural, they do not know what is unnatural. This is truly the top of that pyramid.
Well, it's okay. I think Biden has our back, though.
We beat Pharma this year! We beat Pharma!
We're good.
He continues to get some serious flack, even from the left, for saying that. It's pretty fun to watch.
It's break!
This is break. Don't just consume the content, but become the content. Become the content. Take a break. All right, we're going to take a second here to thank our producers who come in with their talent. We appreciate all of you who contribute to the show in various ways, and we'd like to highlight those who come in with their talent to help build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. All we ask is that whatever you make is for the show, and we're going to start off with some audio production.
Audio production.
Yeah, Yeah, and oh my gosh, I forgot to put it into the actual document. This is how bad it is because we were trying to get started early. But we do have one from Caleb today. And do we have a Caleb jingle? I'm trying to think. No, I don't think so. Okay.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
And now I'm trying to see if there was a note from Caleb. Give me 1 second as I dig in.
I can probably check. I got it pulled up. Another Liz Truss jingle, it says.
There you go. Here we go.
We've got Liz, our lizard. She's hanging out over my shoulder here.
Well, thanks very much, Dean. It's fantastic to be here.
That's the one. That is the one. We got it. You nailed it, Caleb.
Oh, good
That
job.
is the one.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
That is so good.
I know.
Wow.
It's so good. That is the one. That'll be the Liz Truss jingle.
That is the Liz Truss jingle.
All right. That's it for music or audio. I don't think there's anything else for that, but we do have some art.
One art, please.
And we started off with Dame Allie of the Skillet Nation.
One RC, another one from Allie now. Here it is.
And this one is accompanied by a haiku. It's Wednesday, my dudes. A Dame Ebony Blaze haiku. Andrew Torba's book, Ominous Call to Action, on bestseller list? In last spot, but still. The Christian nationalist movements on the list.
Wow, he made the list. He's at the very end of the list, but his pro-Christian nationalist book is on the list. And we've got a headshot pencil portraiture of Torbo here. He's got his Gab hat on. I had never seen this man before. He's a younger guy, looks like.
He's very young.
Yeah, he's a younger guy. Got a beard. He's looking sort of dazed off into the middle distance. You zoom on in there. He's got them lizard eyes, folks. The portraits don't lie. Thank you very much.
Some of our viewers and listeners.
If we think, what, Guns?
Torba's a lizard man.
We are equal opportunity offenders around here. And Christian nationalist authors literally telling people not to study eschatology.
Yeah.
Because it gets in the way of taking over the world.
Yeah. It gets in the way of fixing the problem now.
Yeah. That is not a way to get through a CCNT mention without a little bit of lizard commentary.
you earned a little lizard eye, Andrew Torba.
Yeah. Telling people not to study the Bible because that gets in the way of your Christian nationalism is, I think he earned those lizard eyeballs.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dame Allie and Ebony Blaze. Dame Ebony Blaze.
Yeah, thank you very much. We also have one here from Sir Dove.
One art piece from Dove.
It's actually a couple pieces here, and it is accompanied with a note. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Don't have the jingle ready, but there it is. I'm reading the wrong one. Peace!
Yeah, you are.
For today's show, I wanted to send a flag a flag I hand-painted as a piece of art to give away at the Rusbeltia meetup next month.
Ooh, the prizes have begun.
It says in, not of, and is a reminder that our first citizenship is to the kingdom now. Anyone that wants to go to the Feast of Tabernacles camp out, email dovemerari, MERARI, @gmail.com. I'll probably send in a piece of art to give away each week until the meetup. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for you.
Indeed, yes. And just so everybody's reminded, the Canary Cry Rusbeltia meetup to the Feast of Tabernacles campout is October 15th. And Dove will be giving away some authentic hand-created Dove art. And today we've got the in, not of American flag, which I love. I think it's a genius idea. It goes exactly with what we've been talking about with the Christian nationalism thing. And it looks cool. And a good reminder, we are in, not of this world. And that includes the very country that we are in and not of, no matter how much we can love and support America, the idea of America, the ideal America versus perhaps the current manifestation of America, we can support American ideals and values and things like that as we see them to be appropriate. But just remember that it is not the ultimate citizenship of believers. So I think this is great. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. And yes, it's an American flag. Looks like a hand. No, yes, okay. Made in the USA, American flag. And instead of the stars, where the stars are, it says in, not of, in a sort of circular, cool dove style font. Yes, I love it.
Let's call it Dove.
Thank you very much, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove. All right. We have one more from Sir Darren, Knight of the Hungry Pandas, which, let's see, where is the Knight of the Hungry Pandas art? I had it here. Oh, it's the GIF. Yeah. The note here. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
I made a GIF for you, and I hope you like it. The debate over the pronunciation of GIF reminds me of the Jiffy peanut butter debate. Is it the Mandela effect? Quote, in an ongoing discussion on Reddit that started in 2016, people are convinced that Jif peanut butter used to be called Jiffy. As for myself, I use the hard G sound, Giffy, for the win. Have a great day.
Yeah. I forget which one I feel very passionate about. I feel very passionate about it. GIF versus GIF. I just can't remember which one I feel very passionate about. GIF makes the most sense because it's graphic.
That's kind of what I thought too. Graphic.
What does GIF mean? It's the graphic
interlaced something
or other.
Yeah. I don't
Anyways, we got this fun GIF.
Cool GIF.
Got a fun GIF.
Wednesday GIF.
Sir Darren, thank you very much. And it's a bird. Well, it's a canary, and he does this little spin move. He's spinning around on a beautiful teal background, and then he stops spinning, and he's winking and he's waving, and it says, "It is Wednesday, my dudes."
Graphics.
Very stoked.
Graphics interchange format. That's what it is.
That's what it is. Thank you.
CompuServe.
RG says one lousy petunia. Thank you very much, Sir Darren, Knight of the Hungry Panda.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Love the gifts.
Yeah, it's definitely a gift to us, all those gifts.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. Okay.
Microfiction.
Right. We have a microfiction.
Microfiction.
Microfiction
by Wrong Smash.
Bursting into the tent aggressively, the filthy IRSS agent and the clean agent Smith are both taken aback seeing the lizard, who grabs a ray gun and blasts DK with light. He screams and begins growing salamander fronds. Stacy dives behind the tubes. It's the salamander laser.
Yeah, I think it's going to take over.
Got the Russian frog laser, and now we got the salamander laser coming in hot. Thank you very much, Runk Smash.
Yep, thank you very much. And that does it for all of the producers coming in with their talent. We appreciate you. You do definitely help us create the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk.
And a reminder, all you artistic people out there, if you're a creative person, you want to produce the show, you can do that by creating something for the show and emailing it to canarycryradio@gmail.com.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get cold.
It's cold, Bessa. It's cold. Antarctica, go first.
It's a snowstorm.
Antarctica.
Ice scientists are penguins.
Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
Oh, yeah. PCMag.com headline, SpaceX's Starlink arrives in Antarctica. Now available on all 7 continents. Apparently, they can get Starlink out to Antarctica, but they are unable to get it to Basel at Burning Man.
I don't believe it. The Antarctic, those poor, pitiful Antarctic scientists.
Hey, penguins first, man.
This is, don't believe the lies, Antarctic penguin scientists. It's not going to work. I cannot believe it. Maybe it's a temperature thing. Maybe Starlink will work in Antarctica because it's, cold.
Yeah.
And
maybe.
Burning Man is 100 degrees, and Elon's like, nah, you just sit there and suffer, you weird, sweaty man with googly eyes. Just
you.
No
though.
internet for you. Just me.
Just you. And you were an early adopter. I mean, you bought. I think you purchased the down payment when it was first out.
I did get the pre-order. Yeah. And forgot about it promptly. And 3 years later, a strange box was on my doorstep.
A strange cube with Elon.
Strange cube. Elon cube. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's hear more. So they're getting Starlink in Antarctica. Whoop-de-doo. Okay. Thanks, Elon.
Yep. SpaceX's Starlink is starting to offer satellite internet in perhaps the most remote region of the world, Antarctica. The company has shipped a Starlink dish to McMurdo Station, a U.S. research facility based on an island right off the coast of Antarctica. In a tweet on Wednesday, the National Science Foundation said the scientists with the U.S. Antarctic program have been testing out the dish at the site to supply increased internet bandwidth. In response to the official SpaceX account tweet, quote, Starlink is now on all 7 continents. The Starlink dish promises to offer faster internet speeds to McMurdo Station, which previously relied on satellite internet from other providers.
I love that they don't name them. Any of the other providers. You don't even get to know who's bad at it.
You don't want to.
We don't even speak the name of other providers.
Well, that, and you don't want to offend yet because it's still spotty, the whole SpaceX, the Starlink thing. So
yes, it is.
You
know what?
Get too mad.
This is interesting. If now we're going to wait until he gets a few more satellites up. Of course, but this is interesting because they just added the feature on Starlink where it's called portable mode. It's like $25 a month or whatever, and you can actually bring your Starlink anywhere in the world or anywhere that has coverage. So technically, Gons, once there's enough coverage over Antarctica, we could bring my Starlink. Well, it's our Starlink. You bring our Starlink down to Antarctica and give it a go. Give it a try.
Well,
we won't have to rely on those poor Antarctic scientists.
The broadband quality has to be shared over a 17 megabytes per second connection for the entire
17 megabytes.
Entire research facility,
like
which can house over 1,000 people. Oh my gosh, do the math on that. That's not a lot of bandwidth.
Yes, it is broadband, isn't it? Yeah.
Starlink, on the other hand, can offer much faster broadband due to lower orbits of the company's Starlink satellites. Download speeds can range from 50 to 200 megabytes per second.
I don't believe it. That's faster than
really
most regular residential. I think they're just giving the regular numbers. I don't know if they're giving the actual Antarctica numbers.
Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. Download speeds can range from 50 to 200 megabytes per second for residential users and 100 to 300 megabytes per second for business customers through a high-performance dish, which can also withstand extreme temperatures.
Maybe we need a high-performance dish.
Yeah, you didn't get the good stuff. To serve users in Antarctica, SpaceX has been launching batches of Starlink satellites to orbit the Earth's polar regions in an effort to beam high-speed broadband to users below, including in Alaska and northern Canada. Normally, Starlink satellites fetch the internet data by relying on ground stations on the planet's surface. But last year, SpaceX began outfitting new satellites with laser links, which can allow them to send and receive data with each other across space. This can allow the same satellite to beam broadband without relying on a ground station below. Quote, in such a remote location like Antarctica, this capability is enabled by Starlink's Space Laser Network.
Space lasers? MTG was right.
She was right all along. How dare you make fun of the space lasers?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. We reached out to the National Science Foundation for more information on the Starlink test, and we'll update the story if we hear back. Good luck there, PC Mag.
Yeah, good luck.
There you go.
I think that this fits directly into our theories about Antarctica because, if you're going to be trying to woo, rich white tourists down to Antarctica, they're going to want internet. They have to.
How are you going to post your Instagram?
Exactly. What is the point of a luxury Antarctica vacation to show you're so woke and to show you support everything you're supposed to support if you can't post on TikTok about it? I think this might actually be the missing link, the last brick in the wall that is
Skynet
tourism in Antarctica, as the woke progressive utopia, the Great White Desert.
Yeah.
And I think Starlink specifically is that. Simply because it is commercially available. You can get Starlink. You can bring your dish down there fairly easily. I mean, it's not tiny or anything, but you could figure it out.
Yeah.
I think this is it, man. I think it's the last, the last
frontier.
The last frontier is posting on Instagram. I mean, 17 megabytes per second. That is a long upload to put a TikTok up.
Well, depending on the quality,
you're pitiful scientists.
Yeah, depending on the quality you're uploading there. But it's interesting now that it's official that they are space lasers with the National Science Foundation behind it. Tweeting, posting Instagram, posting selfies, any kind of social media. It's a laser warfare now, literally laser to people's minds. They can be like, here I am, here's me and my the trans husband. Here's me and a Nephilim penguin. It's the whole thing, and then everybody receives it.
Not to mention, actual warfare, laser warfare, because Elon, sent a bunch of Starlink over to Ukraine.
Right.
And Ukraine intelligence is using Starlink to catfish Russian soldiers and then bomb their butts off after they, reveal their identity and their location to fake, models on the internet.
Hey, check me out. Slide into the DMs.
Pew, pew, pew.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all about lasers, man. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. It's all coming together. I mean, it's
definitely all coming together.
Funny because it's not the most exciting or conspiratorial Antarctica update, but it really does put a nice little bow on the whole theory.
Well, it's like the glue, you got to have the glue to tie stuff together. A story like this feels like the glue, really bringing all kinds of things together. But
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get you out of here. We are
we're good. We're
once
good on time.
In our lives, we might actually end on time. Let's see how we do. Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We're going to be back on Monday.
No, we'll be back Friday, but that's also close to Monday. Yeah.
You're right. We'll be, I guess, since Gons wants to, we'll be back on Friday. We'll be back Friday, so be here. It'll be fun. And I will be presenting more on the Burning Man research trip. We'll have some more updates on the content thereof. And I want to thank again all of our producers, but especially our executive producer, and that is executive producer Jennifer I. And of course, you can produce the show. I would like to encourage everybody to really take a second and think about it, pray about it, about producing the show. We're okay. We're going to survive. But we do take producership in all forms, kind of not only as what feeds Gonz's children and the emus and everything, but it is also sort of the signal if we're moving in the right direction or not. Yeah. And remember, it's not so much about the amount of your producership, although, of course, it makes a difference, the amount. But, if you want to send us just a little message by Friday, if you just want to send a message to your good buddies, Basil and Gons, that they're at least heading in the right direction with the show, please consider producing the show. You can do that by heading on. Well, you can do that in many ways: your time, your talent, or your treasure. But head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
Yeah. And like I said, time, talent, or treasure, we got some people to thank who really put in the work to make all of the widespread resources of this show available, starting with our Clippies.
Flippy on those videos.
Thanks, Clippies. Yes, they clip out the show. They manage the YouTube channel, the Odyssey channel. That is producer Emsworth and producer Faye Liverin. Thank you guys so much for your hard work.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciated.
We also have the timestampers.
Whoop, sorry, I was scrolling through the...
That's okay. We're moving, baby.
Timestamp, it's hard work.
Timestamps. Yes, timestamps for the shows are very important to so much of our back-end processes. And thank you to all of our timestampers, including Joelle S., with some help from Jade Bouncerson for episode 533's timestamps.
Thank you very much.
And, of course, thanks to our social media gal.
The social media consultant.
Thanks so much.
Social media.
Yeah, thank you to Dame Miss G of the OV and Deeper Rivers for posting the art on our social media channels. Still putting out a call. I'm thinking the best place to start is if somebody was interested in being sort of a social media coordinator, a coordinator for our social media. You know, we talked about the retweet team and the stuff like that. But I think if somebody had some, first interest, second will and faithfulness,
time,
and third, time, I guess is in there one
thing,
and third, experience and know-how. But if you don't have that, that's not a problem. We are happy to help teach and find resources to teach as well. But if somebody is interested in really playing a valuable role in some stuff we're trying to do regarding social media, let us know. Send us an email to canarycryradio@gmail.com or get in touch with us somehow, our socials or something. And we would love to talk to you. We're kind of really looking for the Lord to bring in somebody who, like I said, has the will and the time, and the expertise would be nice, but not required. Mostly the will and the time. That would be really nice. Coordinating. Okay. CanaryCryMeetups.com.
Canary Cry Meetups.
You know it. You love it. CanaryCryMeetups.com. We got all the meetups there. You need to go check it out. Yeah, I already told you where they are. We got 3 meetups still happening this month. We got more happening next month. But most importantly, if there's not one near you, put one on yourself. I know it can seem intimidating. We've had people share with us that they waited so long to put on a meetup because they didn't know how to make a poster, or they didn't, don't let those little things get in the way. Just send us an email, say, hey, I want to put on a meetup here, find a date and a time, and we'll help from there. It's easy peasy, baby. Don't let the little things get in the way of putting on a meetup, because it's really valuable. Meeting other people who listen to the show, have similar worldview, know what's going on in the world. You don't got to agree with everything, but that's what it's like to be around humans. And I will say, so just think about it, pray about it, put something on. Head to canarycrymeetups.com. We'll see you at the meetup. I had one moment of light recently, Gons, because up until recently, we'd had 0 ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. for the month of September, which is a long time with no ratings and reviews. It made me very sad, and I'm still not quite my tippy top emotional self. But we had a couple people come in, and I appreciate that very much. And the reason I appreciate it is because, like it or not, we all recognize that the algorithms are in control of our lives in certain ways, and even more so for people like Gons and I when it comes to podcast algorithms, search algorithms, things like this. The state of our algorithms really is annoyingly in control of a lot of things, and Gons and I cannot do anything about it. Only you, dear listener, are able to help us out with this by leaving ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. Most of you are doing it. Most of you are there listening right now on Apple Podcasts. And if if 1% of the people listening on Apple Podcasts left a review, I certainly would be in a much better mood.
We would shoot up into the...
We'd make a list again.
Yeah,
we used to make lists
trend
all
on the
the
front
time.
page of news and stuff. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah. So, and I believe it. I believe there's a certain series of words that I can say that will be convincing enough that someday people will do that.
You're trying to find your own algorithm of words.
I'm trying to find the algorithm, the human-based verbal language algorithm that would finally flip the switch in enough people's minds to leave a rating or review we could really blast off. Now, I have not found it yet, but luckily we don't need the full 1% right now. Honestly, just 5 ratings and reviews a week makes a huge difference. Hundreds of new people find the show when 5 people. And I think maybe me saying that number is not good, because I think such a low number, so many people are like, oh, surely 5 people will do that.
You're setting the bar too low.
I'm setting the bar too low. I should be probably saying, like, we need 100 people.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
we need 100 people to leave ratings and reviews.
Go
by
1,000.
Friday.
Go 1,000.
Okay.
You got to go big. If we're going to get 1% to respond, then,
Well, that we need to be more than that. But I'm just saying it. I'm trying it out. I'm running an algorithm, Gons.
Well,
100 people.
But that's
Gons, stop it. I'm trying to end the show.
I'm trying to do math.
Don't do math.
Aw.
I'm trying to end the show. Stop it. Just don't do it. 100 people need to leave ratings and reviews by Friday. Please don't rely on somebody else to leave a rating or review. You, listener, listening right now, you need to leave a rating and review. Please do it. It's easy. It takes 60 seconds. It helps us out more than I am currently able to articulate. And that is that. If we do it by Friday, if we get 100 ratings and reviews by Friday, I don't know what I'll do, but I will do something very special. I don't know what it is yet.
I like it.
It will be something commensurate with 100 ratings and reviews. I promise you this.
Incentivize.
I'm making a commitment and a promise. If we get 100 by Friday, I will shock you with what I am willing to do as a thank you.
Okay.
So go do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jam, for the links.
Yep.
And everybody else, if you've already left a review, see, this is the thing. This is why we need to get the merit badges system. By the way, been working on the merit badge system, folks. So get ready for that. Probably the New Year's, when I don't want to promise anything too soon, but I would say sort of our unofficial public goal is to get the merit badges started by the new year. And once you can get a merit badge for leaving a review, I think maybe that'll help. But you can also be able to get a merit badge by sharing the show, sharing it with a friend, sharing it on your social media, sharing it with your mom, your dad, your mom's dad, your dad's mom, your friends, all the people in the world. And you can do this any way you want. Some people are a little bit more, eccentric than others. Not everybody just wants to share it on Twitter or whatever. You can get as creative as you possibly want with it. It's not up to me how you share the show. I mean, one way you could do it is you could go online. You can search out the addresses of all the Hardee's locations in America. Find all the Hardee's locations in America, and you're going to call them one by one, and you're going to ask them if their location is carrying the Canary Cry News Talk nacho fries, and they will say no. They will say no as many times as you ask. But you know what? When enough people ask, somebody at Hardee's, somebody in the boardroom at Hardee's is going to say, we have gotten an insane amount of calls about something called the Canary Cry News Talk nacho fries. I think in this world of algorithms and big data and evil corporations creating food-adjacent lumps of digestible matter and selling it in place of real food, somebody in a boardroom is going to suggest, hey, let's give the people what they want. And these people want something called Canary Cry News Talk nacho fries. And then, boom, the news release will go out. The posters will go up. The advertisements will start. That is millions of dollars of advertising money coming straight from the boardroom of Hardee's. Old Carl Hardee's will pay for millions of dollars of televised advertisements for Canary Cry News Talk nacho fries, and then it's all gravy from there, baby. So that's just one way to do it. You don't have to do it that way. You could do it any way you want. But if you must know, we call it rattling cages. And all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone.
Never! Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Guns, any last words?
Stay tuned for Basil's Dinosaur Impression Day, which is tomorrow, Thursday. Not a show day, so maybe Friday we'll get an updated Velociraptor sound. Maybe you should practice. I'm letting you know ahead of time.
Is that 1 year or 2 years? It must be
2020.
years.
Yeah, 2020. So 2 years. And also, Friday's show will be Black Wednesday. George Soros breaks. What does that say? The Bank of England. Ah, yes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The anniversary of Soros's victory over the UK.
Yeah, and Gons is reading that from the Canary Cry calendar, a cherished tradition now. And the Canary Cry calendar will be available to those who are signed up for the supply drop, for the fourth quarter supply drop. The Canary Cry calendar really is a treasured treasure for Canarians. So I highly recommend signing up for the supply drop, canarycrysupply.com, and that will come to you in December. Yep. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Children in the space lane.
I'm an adult in a spaceship.
Supersonic space lane screamed to life and the vehicle swooped upward. On board, the passengers experienced 3 G's of force from the burst of extreme acceleration and watched the blue sky fade into space.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Oh, yeah.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Yes. Do it, Richard. Do it, Jeff. Do it for humanity.
To all you kids down there,
I was once a child with a dream. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship.
He can accomplish it. You can too. Big windows, cool. Rocket ship, cool. Space plane, cool.
Nukes,
cool.
Blowing stuff up,
cool. Space plane, astronaut, rocket ship.
Previous anchor.
We have Bezos. He's a human. Just look at him. Go to the bathroom in bags. He can go to the bathroom in the cosmos. It changed everything. Wives in space, children in the cosmos, with your best friend brother. Wives in the cosmos, children in the space plane.
We are headed to space.
I love the Great Reset.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
Goodbye, everybody. And that's the end. And everyone says, oh, that was fun.
Bye, 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 bye.
I'm out of here. Bye.
Canary Cry Radio.com/support.